Welcome to the conversation on education with Juanita Valdez-Cox. Juanita, with the La Unión del Pueblo Entero,
correct,
Executive Director of the organization, and you've been with it 10 years. Tell me about the excitement of what's happened at Far San Juan Alamo, which is surrounding your headquarters in San Juan, between San Juan and Alamo.
That's right.
What has been the impact of what has been transformational at Far San Juan Alamo with all of your people that you consider your people, and those would be those who live in Colonia,
exactly,
in particular? What's been the impact on that community?
You know, since Dr. Daniel King came into the Far San Juan Alamo area, he's been working very, very closely with the community, staying connected to the community in which we have about 7,000 members that belong to La Unión del Pueblo Entero that are from the Far San Juan Alamo area. What we've seen is the reach out not only to the parents but to the whole community. And what has been really exciting is that he has such innovative ideas. One of them that we truly appreciate is going back, having a program, having the teachers go back and find those students that have dropped out for whatever reason and trying to re-engage them back into school, even if they're 24 years old, 25 years old, finding them, knocking on those doors in the colonias and saying, you may have dropped out for whatever reason, but there's an opportunity for you. You can still come back. You can complete your education, and then you can go on to college. And so I think of all of the great programs that he's done, that one is really dear to our heart, because we know that those that belong to our organization in the community really struggle and have a very high dropout rate. And therefore, this program is very exciting, and it has been very successful, because we've heard the stories from parents that their kids that just used to hang out at home now have the opportunity to go back and finish high school.
Statistics show 900 colonias in Hidalgo County, more colonias in Hidalgo County than any other county probably in the nation. So subsequently, with what has been occurred at Far San Juan Alamo in bringing dropouts back, would you say most of these dropouts, the higher percentage of these dropouts who dropped out of high school, did not go into college, have been in your colonia?
I think that what we've seen is that is the fact that a lot of them live in the colonias. And as you know, colonias are very rural areas. Many times it's due to the issue of transportation. Many times it's just the parents asking the children, well, the young teens, to help out and go work. There are many, many reasons, but I do believe that the large percentage of them do come from colonias. Not 100%, but the larger percentage do come from colonias.
Hardworking people, they're underemployed. It's not that they want a handout. They want to get educated so they can go being productive. So give me an example or two of some colonia person or student who dropped out of PSJA and now has gone back and become what?
Well, for example, we have La Familia Sanchez. They live in a colonia called Rancho Escondido. They've been members of the organization, and their children all went through the high school there at PSJ area until they one of them had to find employment, you know, to help out the family. But that person went back. They went back to, because of the program that is being offered by PSJA. They went back and they attended Texas, the community college. STC. They attended STC, they did really, really well. And so that person then transferred over to UT. So it's just one of many success stories, you know, that we have seen, that when superintendent, when his staff, when the teachers, when the counselors, when they take when they care so much that every child be in school, they go out of their way. They go out of their way by creating new and innovative programs. Our area is so different from the rest of the state, from the rest of the nation. And therefore, you need those innovative ideas to be able to reach those that are less fortunate. And they're showing that given the opportunity, they're willing to do their best, they're willing to commit, they're willing to do the hard work to be able to get through high school and on to college. And the parents, they want that for their children because they want a better life for them.
If this audience could come to just one of your colonias,
Right.
they would see potential doctors, lawyers,
Totally.
nurses,
Yes.
that the northern half of the state of Texas
Right.
need desperately
Right.
tomorrow.
Right.
And they need them to be educated in order to take
Exactly.
care of the older part of our,
Exactly.
state, from I-10 to the Red River. And
Right.
all these children live here in Hidalgo County.
Right.
They just need a little education, a little
Right.
help in order to
Exactly.
make sure that that happens.
There's huge potential. There's
Huge
huge
potential.
potential. And there's a huge number of what we call baby boomers. Some of us that are reaching that age, that these are our leaders, these young people, and we need to really support schools like the FAR San Juan Alamo. We really need to support the superintendents, the teachers, and the parents, because they are making a huge difference. And this is who we're going to rely on once we're at an older age and are going to need their support. And it has been proven that out of these colonias, you now have the lawyers and the judges and the teachers and the doctors, and that can be multiplied over and over again. And that is the future for our country, not only for South Texas.
Thank you, Juanita
Sure thing.
Valdez Cox,
Thank you very
Executive
much.
Director of La Unión del Pueblo Entero. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back in a moment. And welcome to the conversation. Your host, Ron Whitlock, and we have with us Joel Vargas, who's with Job for the Future. You're a Vice President high through college. What is Jobs for America, Mr. Vargas? Explain to the audience what it is.
Well, thank you for having me here, Ron. Jobs for the Future is a 30-year-old nonprofit organization based in Boston, and our work is national. And all of our work focuses on attempting to help more low-income youth and struggling workers to get the post-secondary credentials that they need to be successful in today's economy. And my work at the organization has long focused on solutions like early college high schools, which PSJA is taking to a new level. I think what makes it a signature approach nationally, and why we're so excited about the work going on here, is it tries to give every high school student some taste of success in college, so that they have some momentum
To keep going.
To keep going
Not
into
only
college
graduate, but to go
while
on beyond
they're in
that.
high
Wow,
school.
wow, fantastic.
And so we were the managing partner on the National Early College High School Initiative, which started in 2002. There were over 280 schools in the country serving over 80,000 students. And PSJA has taken that work to the next level. They're one of the pioneers in the country on trying to make sure that more students are reached by this successful strategy, which has really been verified by a lot of research to be a very effective approach.
You're saying PSJA is taking it to a new level. What does that mean?
Well,
Compare before and now.
Yeah, the schools started really as small schools. So there were schools of 300 to 400 students. And they were designed to ensure that all students could get 1 to 2 years of college credit or an associate's degree. So what districts like PSJA done, and they clearly are the leading district in this respect, is to say, you know, what if we got every student in high school some college credit? Some, you know, and I think the goal is, 12 college credits. Let's try to get at least a semester of credit. And in fact, they have a lot of students who are doing more than that. And they're reaching that goal. They're not, I think Dr. King would be the first to say, we're not all the way where we want to be, but if you look at their data, they have grown tremendously over the years in hitting that goal. And their students are benefiting from that in terms of, being on their way to being college completers.
In my last conversation with Dr. King, we talked about trying to get it to the next level. You would have thought that the level where he has brought it to now in this PSJA school district was unattainable at one point in time. So how do you look at duplicating the unattainable?
Well, first of all, you have to, we would love to clone Dr. King, for one, but you can't do that. So you do have to have, though, good leadership who has a vision. And what they have had is, I think you have to have continuity in that vision. And it does start at the top. And while it does start at the top, it does not end there. Dr. King has been very strategic about developing leadership at the building level and at the classroom level to understand this vision and to have a continuous approach to trying to meet this goal.
Apparently, it has to be a collaboration, however, between public ed and community colleges or universities. Is that a given? You've got to have that for it to work?
It takes at least two to tango, K-12 district and college partner. That's correct. If not more than one college partner, if you're going to offer this opportunity for more than just a few high school students.
It's been announced in the last 2 months that with the Burgos opening, like an Eagle Ford Shale in Mexico, opening of the energy sector of the country of Mexico is going to have a $1.7 trillion economic impact on this border region over the next decade. Where does Jobs for America fit into that future? My goodness, can you believe the number? I mean, 1.7 trillion in economic activity just in this border region. How do we prepare for that?
Well, it's a terrific opportunity, and Jobs for the Future is involved in many ways in trying to, if you think of our work as trying to better align our education systems with the needs of the workforce, that's a real opportunity and problem right now, because there are probably not enough educated, qualified young people to graduate from high school or college, for that matter, ready to take those jobs.
No question.
What kind of pathways can you build for those young people so that they're better prepared and can draw even more jobs to the region?
So what could you tell Dr. King watching that he needs to do to help prepare the jobs for the future with that emerging economic opportunity?
He's already doing a lot of it, and he should continue to call on us, and we can provide it, as he knows, any number of services, and prepared to stand ready to help him in any way we can.
Thank you, Mr. Waylon Vargas with Jobs for America from Boston, and we'll be back in a moment, so stay tuned. Hello, and the conversation continues with Lily Allen, who's with Jobs for America.
Jobs for the Future.
Jobs for the Future. What exactly does that mean to the audience if they're never involved with it before, didn't have a clue what it stood for? Explain it to me and them what Jobs for the Future means.
Jobs for the Future is a national organization. We're based in Boston, but we work all over the country, including down here in the Rio Grande Valley. And we are concerned about making sure that all of our young people and our adults are prepared for and can transition into post-secondary credentials that are actually going to pay off in the labor market. And that's the work that we do. And my work focuses on the young people who have dropped out and helping them access those post-secondary programs that are going to pay off.
And you're also working in collaboration with RGV Focus. And what's that collaboration all about, Lily?
That collaboration is all about trying to get a very common focus, as it's called, here in the Valley around what success looks like and how are we going to get there. So we have a lot of pockets of excellent programs down here in the Valley that are serving various sort of pieces of the population. And RGV Focus is really figuring out how do we scale up what's working in one place so that it's happening across the Valley, and how do we build it out so that it's working even better, so that we can really improve the outcomes for all the young people here in the Rio Grande Valley.
And obviously one place that is working out very, very well is being revolutionized here at San Alamo Independent School District. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
Absolutely. So, you know, Jobs for the Future, as I said, is based in Boston. We work all over the country, and I would say about 5 years ago we became aware of the work of the College Career and Technology Academy, which was founded by Dr. King when he first got here. He saw that they had an enormous number of dropouts, and that they needed to take care of that before they did anything else. So they started this school that was essentially, the tagline was, never finished high school, start college today. So it was very revolutionary, the idea that you can get these young people back and they're not just going to get high school credits, they're going to actually get college credits. So they are actually graduating with high school with some of that early college experience that the rest of the students in the district are getting. So we have been writing about it, we developed a toolkit about it, and we have been working with others around the country to help them adopt some of the practices as well.
What do policymakers in particular need to understand about the fact that our nation, in order to be competitive internationally and globally, must keep these minority and low-income students from dropping out and get through college?
Well,
what do they need to know they don't know, they don't get?
Well, I think, you know, there's they need to understand what the data is telling us about how the United States is changing. And it is changing for the better. I mean, it is a much more diverse and much more kind of interesting place than it was, I would say, 100 years ago. But what it also means is that we're facing some challenges around making sure that every single young person is prepared for post-secondary education. And the thing about the dropout population, you know, there's some folks in Boston who came up with a kind of a marketing campaign for their work around this population, and they called it "too big to be seen." And essentially what they meant was it's such a huge population, the population of young people who drop out of school, and there's a way in which they're invisible. They kind of fall between the cracks of our systems. And so we don't really see how big a problem it is until we really look at the numbers. There's something like 6.7 million young people right now who are out of school and out of work. And so we've got to deal with that. We've got to help them get back on track, get into some kind of post-secondary education and training so that they can be part of our economy.
Lily, the area where you're sitting, Farstown, Alamo Independent School District, in this whole valley region, has gone from agriculture to manufacturing and international trade, and now it's going to Eagle Ford Shale, just to the north, has made us the #1 gas producer in the world, and now we're being opened up to Mexico, and so it's going to be more oil. We're going to be the Saudi Arabia of the hemisphere.
Oh, good to know.
$1.7 trillion. Hello. In economic in the next decade.
Yes.
How does Jobs for America and Dr. King and PSJA plan for those future jobs that are engineering, petro engineering, all of those things that are going to be needed like tomorrow? How do we prepare for that? It's going to happen day after tomorrow.
Yeah, well, the first thing you do is, and that we are doing, is looking at the labor market analyses and what they're telling us about what the jobs are going to look like. And then we talk to employers and ask them to tell us about this data. Is this the right data? And what else can you fill out for us? And then we start to develop our programs of study so that our young people are prepared for these jobs. And that's a cycle that, you know, we have done it in other places. We're doing it down here, and that's the critical cycle. Is looking at the data, talking to the employers, and then developing the training programs, and developing them in a way that really speak to the young people so they want to be in them.
So Dr. King of PSJA ISD and Dr. Shirley Reed, president of South Texas Community College, they'll be collaborating with you and Jobs for the Future in order to come up with a template of what to do in order to go forward to make sure that those jobs are ready to be filled when those jobs are available. Absolutely,
absolutely. It's economic development and workforce development going hand in hand. Absolutely.
As long as you collaborate, everything's going to be just fine.
That's right.
Lily,
got it.
Thank you so much for being with us. Lily Allen, Jobs for America. We'll be back with more, so stay tuned. Hi, welcome to The Conversation. I'm your Ron Whitlock. We're here at the College for All Conference, brought to you by and sponsored by the Farstown Mount Alamo Independent School District. Our next guest, Charles Clark. Charles, welcome to our conversation. Now,
thank you for having me.
Charles, just for your information, is principal of Northside High School at Beaufort County School District in North Carolina, and he's here with the North Carolina New Schools Project. So, what is the North Carolina New Schools Project, and what component of that are you predominantly trying to be here and learn from to take back to your high school in North Carolina?
Okay. The North Carolina New Schools Project is a project where, as far as how we're involved at the traditional high school setting, is they're providing staff development, leadership development, as well as opportunities for our students to take college classes through universities and the community college. We came here to gain inspiration and ideas on how to fully integrate the early college ideas and experiences into a traditional high school setting at North Carolina.
Now, we visited with your South Side counterpart with Dale Cole, and he said that his graduation rate's around 98%. What is yours at your high school?
We're at 87%. We've hovered between 80 and 87% for the last 4 years. I've been at Northside High School for 4 years since the implementation of the NC New Schools Project, and it's been a great experience, but it has provided a lot of support for our kids.
So you're at 87 now. Were you at a lower level and now you're increased? You had a little bit of retention on the part of kids not dropping out of high school?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We were as low as 78%, and now we're as high as 87%.
Wow.
And our dropout rate has drastically reduced. We only had, matter of fact, this past year we only had 8 dropouts in that entire high school.
So coming to Far San Alamo, where Far San Alamo used to be 8 years ago, twice the state average in kiddos that did not go ahead and get their diploma in high school and they dropped out. Now they're 1/2 of the state average. You want to try to emulate what's going on in Far San Alamo. Take it back to your school in North Carolina.
Exactly. I look at what Dr. King's been able to do here, and I would love to be able to mirror that at my high school. The opportunities that he's provided for these kids that are in similar poverty situations as the kids that come from my school, we're around probably 65 to 70% free and reduced lunch. So to be able to provide those opportunities for our kids would be fantastic, and having those kids take those college classes and move on and be able to save their parents money and time and things like that and to be successful.
Give the audience some kind of an awareness of what the demographic profile of your student population is at Northside High School.
Okay, we're about 75% Caucasian. We're about 15% African American, and then about 10% Hispanic.
When the Hispanic population is growing all the time.
Yes, sir. We're an agricultural community, and that attracts the families, and because there's a lot of opportunities for them to work in our area.
You find your dropout rate and situation is more prevalent to the minority groups of Hispanic and African American?
Actually, at our school, it's exact opposite.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
We very seldom have a minority dropout. All of our dropouts for the last 3 years have been Caucasian. So I wish I could
it's just the opposite of what you find across the nation.
Yeah.
Why is that the case in your opinion?
Well, I think it goes back to what Mr. Cole said. I think it's more of a poverty situation than it is a race or ethnic situation. And because we're so much more Caucasian, then it's just a numbers thing that it's going to be probably more Caucasian than minority.
So the Caucasians are more involved in agriculture, and that's a reason perhaps they drop out. They go ahead and take a job at Grandpa's farm, or Dad's farm, or the ag business that they've had in their family for many generations. So they don't have a college profile historically in their college. They may be first generation. If they go to college, they'll be the first one who've ever done so.
Exactly. There's a lot of first generational college students at our school that are currently taking college classes. But just like you said, between where we live on the coast, so between the seafood market and the agricultural market, these kids see their parents and they see them as being successful, so they don't see the value of education. And so that's what our job is to try to instill that value of education in them and to help them understand that the future is brighter with the higher education that they receive.
And Charles, you've been down to the Rio Grande Valley in South Texas before, and then you've come again. What did you learn last time that you took back to North Carolina and used successfully at your school?
Well, I was here year before last, and we visited 2 schools, and I saw the college framework and the early college components implemented in a traditional high school. And so we took those values back, because I had a group of teachers that came with me, and we took those values back and instilled them in the classroom, and also was able to have conversations with the students that here is a high school very similar to us as far as economics, maybe not racial and ethnic, but economics. And these kids are prospering and getting further in their education careers than anyone would ever expect. And so the opportunities are there if they'll just take advantage of them.
Now, at this particular point in time, we're about halfway through the College for All conference here at Far San Alamo. Thus far, what is the main thing that you picked up on, whether it was in Dr. King's speech at the general session or something else between then and now? What one thing has really piqued your interest that I want to do that? Anything so far?
Well, I can't say that I want to do it, but I would like to see our county have such a close correlation and connection and streamlined approach to education between the superintendent of the schools and the president of the community college. If we can link those two together and be as successful as they have here in this district, then there's no doubt that our kids, there will be no ceiling as far as their ability levels and what they can do and accomplish if we can just have that streamlined approach.
So maybe at next year's conference, you can bring your president of your community college, who in the situation of South Texas College, that'd be Dr. Shirley Reed, and bring that individual down here next time, and perhaps the head of your school board from the county, and bring him down, and get with the president of the school board at Far South Alamo, and have a good time, and try to maybe take back something that's really exciting next year after next year's conference. What do you think about that plan?
That's an excellent suggestion.
Now, the last question I have is this. Now, Dale Cole at Southside High School, his football team beat the socks off your football team in the rivalry between Northside and Southside. What do you have to do to defend your football squad over the winning team in Southside? What happened?
What happened?
Yeah, what happened?
Well,
bad officiating. You got to have something.
I wish I could give you an excuse, but they must feed them better on that side of the river because they're a lot bigger than we are and faster. So I'm not real sure what the answer to that is.
The high school, your coach is his longevity is still secure, or has he got a?
Yeah,
it's still secure.
Yeah.
Even though he lost in the rivalry
right.
Southside squad.
That's right.
Well, I understand. Far South Alamo in '63, when I graduated, went to the state. And so I understand what you're talking about. Far South Alamo's average weight was 115, 120. and the Dumas Demons, who was in the Texas Panhandle, was 210. So wow. They had to wait till the last fourth quarter to wear them out to win the game, and it didn't happen. So they lost state. So Far South Alamo understands the problems you have in Northside at Beaufort County High School. Thank you so much for joining us here on the conversation. Charles Clark from Beaufort County School System and the Northside High School. Thank you so much again for coming and talking to me and the audience. Thank you for joining us. Till next time, adios.